I'm Amy Trembath. I'm a vet but also a farmer.
My name's Jeremy Trembath. We are here at Lonesome Duck Estate, just north of Katherine. We've been here for roughly 20 years and we farm a mixed enterprise of cattle and we're doing a bit of vegetables. Katherine, it's a nice growing area. We get cooler than Darwin, but then we get hotter, bit less rainfall, but we like it. It's a pretty nice sort of a place. Climate for us, for the crops, I think we just need to adapt and manage accordingly. That's the biggest thing. It gets hot, we know that. We have big intense rainfalls, we know that. We do have drought, and I think essentially we've just got to realise that and manage for it. We have had some pretty dry years. We've had the driest year that anyone's ever seen, and we've had some reasonably big years, so there has been a bit of bouncing up and down. We did have fires the other year that burnt the whole place pretty much, but that again was probably a good lesson in management. With the variation in climate management practices, we've got three we pretty much focus on: drought, fire and erosion. Flood's not something that really affects us here, but it could be one in the future, who knows. If you manage accordingly and basically keeping the ground covered is a really good start, really help with those big variable weather events especially. To ensure the success of our crops and livestock, we don't look at the crop or the cow, we would look at the farm and work from there. And it starts from the soil. That's absolutely where it starts from. Healthy soil, if we want to look from a macro perspective, it drives clean water, clean air, healthy food and vibrant ecosystems. If we restore the carbon to the soil, then that's going to restore the small water cycle. And we know that water vapour is the greatest heating effect on the planet. So I think that's what we need to focus on, is restoring the carbon into the soil and looking after. And the way we're going to do that is maintain ground cover for a start. That's going to be the best one, and through living plants photosynthesis. That's how we're going to do it. We do get climate related data, and I think those forecasts, long and short term, are very valuable. We don't just have to go off a gut feel as farmers like maybe our parents had to, but that's a very valuable tool, I believe. Not that it's always correct, but it's something that's close. So with data from, say, the BOM, we might manage our grazing differently, and if we think it's going to be a fire year, long, hot, dry, windy finish, we might graze areas harder just to create buffer zones. That's how we would manage it. There are definitely specific changes we've made to our farming practices. I mean, the biggest one is a bit of education and changing a mindset. I believe it was Gabe Brown who said, if you want to make small changes, you change how you do things. If you want to make big changes, you've got to change how you see things. So that's probably the biggest change we made, and that'll echo through to changing what you do. Farming economically and trying to be regenerative, and you throw what we call climate change in there as well. It's a bit of a mixed bag. So for us, we focus more on profit per hectare rather than yield per hectare. We are working with natural systems rather than against them. We're basically an organic operation. We've stopped the use of pesticides, synthetic fertilisers. We know you have to pay for those things, so we were putting on fertilisers that were readily leachable and we weren't getting the value of all of those. So now we try to put on things and use things that are going to work for the benefit of the farm long into the future. That's the plan. And while we may yield less per hectare, our profit per hectare is more, and that's what we want to focus on.
I think too, with the climate side of it, it just makes the whole system a bit more resilient, because the system isn't relying on those synthetics.
We definitely made changes. The biggest things is reducing or eliminating tillage, and that goes to keeping the ground covered and keeping living roots in the soil, and then fostering and looking after those plants by not having cows overgraze them. And overgrazing occurs from time on pasture, not numbers. That's a concept that goes completely against the status quo, and we are completely happy to go and back that. Leaving the land in a better condition would absolutely be our goal. How we achieve that is something we're just constantly working on, and I believe we're heading in the right direction.
So we're building a farm that's going to be more resilient and more productive.